All right, guys, welcome back. Today we have a special training for you from Ben Leonard. He's going to really deep dive into building customer and brand avatars and how to make your brand to make it a valuable asset that you can sell later. Ben is someone that is an alumni of the Seven Figure Seller Summit. He has exited his previous Amazon business for over seven figures, and he's doing it again. He's helping a lot of other sellers. So I really wanted to invite him back to give you this inside look on how he created a brand, and this way you can really amp up your business value. All right. So I apologize. We had a timing issue. It was entirely my fault. So I asked Ben to record this training for you guys, and then I've already passed the pre-submitted questions to him, so he's going to answer as many as he can. So I hope you guys enjoy this training. Thanks, guys.
Hey, welcome to this webinar, Understanding Your Customer and Building a Customer Avatar and Building a Brand Avatar as well. So let's get started. I'm Ben Leonard. I'm an e-commerce entrepreneur and consultant. I founded a brand of fitness equipment in 2016. That brand is called Beast Gear. I grew it to mid seven figures, selling in the UK, Europe, and just got into Australia and the Middle East when it was time to sell that business. And I sold it in late 2019. It was Thrasio's either first or second European acquisition, and I think their first UK acquisition. And now I'm doing several things. I'm building new brands with an eye on an exit, and I'm brokering amazing exits for other e-commerce business owners with my brokerage, ecombrokers.co.uk. So in today's session, we're going to talk about avatars, brand avatars and customer avatars and what they are and why we're interested in them. We're going to talk a lot about people and not so much about products. We're going to talk about who your customer is, how we create a customer avatar, how we create a brand avatar, something called the hero's journey, and we're going to bring it all together and talk about why all of this is extremely important for your e-commerce business. So let's get going on avatars. What is an avatar? Well, we have brand avatars and we have customer avatars. A brand avatar is basically, it's a conceptual idea. It's a concept about your brand's personality, right? It is not a physical thing, right? It's a concept, and it reflects your customer. It's a reflection of your customer avatar, or more importantly, who your customer aspires to be, because it appeals to your customer. Everybody cares about themselves, and your customer and potential customer, deep inside their primal brain, they care mostly about themselves. And when they can see a reflection of either themselves or who they aspire to be in your brand, they are more likely to feel an affinity to your brand and then buy from you. And your brand avatar is the guide in your customer's journey. So your customer avatar, as I said a moment ago, is your ideal customer, or more specifically, it is who your ideal customer aspires to be. It's basically the type of person who purchases or might purchase your products, all right? And we're going to talk a lot today about people, not products. Because the question you should be asking yourself with your business is not what should I sell? It's who should I sell to? You can sell stuff like fidget spinners and other fad products for a period of time and make some money, but it's not sustainable. There you go, fidget spinners, wristbands. Remember when wristbands were a thing? Lance Armstrong's charity brought out wristbands, and they were all the rage for charities, and then people started selling these pointless plastic wristbands, and of course that was not sustainable. You can make money for a time, but you can't build a sustainable, sellable business that way. So it's not about what you sell, it's who you sell to. Because real businesses focus on people, okay? And when you focus on people, not products, that influences several key aspects that are vital to your marketing, building your brand, and therefore the success of your business. And let's look at some of them now. When you focus on people, not products, that's going to influence your content marketing. What blog posts, videos, podcasts, lead magnets, etc. should you create to attract and convert your customer or your avatar? And if you're not familiar with lead magnet, that does what it says on the tin, right? It is exactly as it sounds. It is something, usually on your website, which attracts, like a magnet, leads. So for example, if you have a brand of knitting products, you might offer, in exchange for an email address, a free knitting guide, for instance. That's a lead magnet, all right? When you focus on people, not products, it's going to influence your traffic. Which ad platforms should you buy traffic from, and what targeting options should you use? Because when you understand the people who buy or may buy your products, you're going to know where they hang out. You're going to know that your knitting brand should be on Pinterest rather than TikTok, for instance. Or if you have a brand whose potential customers are mostly on Instagram or Facebook, you're going to know that you should be buying traffic there. When you focus on people, not products, that's going to influence what products you create. If you think about the people that may buy from your brand, you're going to understand what problems they have and therefore what solutions they need. And so what products you are going to create solutions for your customers, right? That is the whole point of your brand and your products. It exists to solve problems for a customer. And when you focus on people, not products, that's going to influence your copywriting. How should you describe your offers in your email marketing, your ads, and your sales in a way that compels your avatar, i.e. your customer, to buy? The language which appeals to a big fan of motorbikes is going to be different than the language that appeals to a big fan of gardening, for example. And when you focus on people, not products, that's going to influence your email marketing. Which avatars or which customers should receive specific email marketing campaigns? Suppose you have a brand that has several sub-avatars within it. If you have an arts and crafts brand, you might have emails specifically for knitting fans, some for sewing fans, some for crochet fans, and you may not want everybody to receive the same email at a certain time. So that's why you have to focus on people, not products. When you focus on people, not products, in an ideal world, your brand should exist to scratch your own itch. Let's take a look at the brand that I built, Beast Gear. I wanted high quality training equipment. And I wanted to improve on the fitness kit that I already owned. So I created fitness equipment that I would want to buy because I was my customer and I understood the problems that people like me had and wanted to resolve. So I was scratching my own itch. Another one is Shopify. So Shopify, the founder of Shopify, a smart guy called Tobias Lutke, he wanted to build a website to sell his snowboards. He had a brand of snowboards. And he discovered when he was building this platform, this website, that actually he preferred developing the platform to selling snowboards. And so he had scratched his own itch. He'd built himself a website platform. And so he decided to expand that out to make it a platform that anybody could come and set up an e-commerce website on. You experience the issues when you scratch your own itch, right? You understand the problem and the pain point that your brand and your products exist to solve. So who better to sell your products? You know the benefits, right? You understand how your product best solves the problem that the customer experiences. So there's no one better than you to sell your product. You also understand the market, right? Because you are the customer. Jack O'Neill knew about surfing, so he created an extremely successful surfing brand because he was the customer. Tobias Lutke, as I just mentioned, knows what e-commerce merchants want. In fact, here's an interesting fact. Despite Shopify being an enormous company now, Tobias still actually has his own e-commerce site that runs on the Shopify platform. It's a secret. Nobody knows what it is, but it means that he still has skin in the game. He still is an e-commerce merchant and understands what the e-commerce merchant wants. So he still understands his customer because he's focusing on people, not products. Okay? And this leads us nicely into talking about who we serve. Because you want to be asking yourself, well, who do I sell to? Is my brand selling to CrossFitters? Am I selling to people with sensitive skin? Am I selling to business owners? And what problems do they have? For example, CrossFitters, we're looking at the blue text here, might say, well, my existing gym bag gets torn up and it gets wears out quickly. When I take it to the CrossFit gym, which has a hard concrete floor, I put it down on the floor. After not very long, it starts to get torn up because the concrete is abrasive. People with sensitive skin might say, I am getting really irritated by this eczema that I've got. And some business owners might have problems with poor planning and time management. So those are problems. What do they want? Well, they want a solution to their problem, right? So the CrossFitter might need a better bag to carry their kit. And that is exactly what King Kong Apparel did. They scratched their own itch. The owners or the founders of this brand were having problems with their gym bags that they were taking to CrossFit, which were getting torn up quickly and were not very hard wearing. So they made, first of all, hard wearing products and bags, but actually bags that were specifically tailored for their needs at CrossFit. So this bag here, for example, has the function to wrap your weightlifting belt around it and secure it under those tags there, for instance. They scratched their own itch. Really cool brand. What about the sensitive skin? Well, the mother of this child, Quinn, was having problems finding clothes for him, particularly socks, that wouldn't irritate his sensitive skin. So she created a brand of socks for him and for other children like him, and actually has developed that into a full brand for the whole family of clothes which are kind to the skin, made of cotton and merino wool. She scratched her own itch, literally, because it was sensitive skin. And finally, the founders of Best Self Co. wanted productivity diaries or journals, and they have expanded this into a full brand of products. So it's a suite of products which sells to the same group of people, but solving slightly different problems, but related problems for those people. Okay, so they've got journals, they've got discovery decks, they've got action pads, they've even got productivity courses now, which shows how you can build your brand around an initial gateway product which solves a problem for a particular group of people, or avatar, if you will. So this leads us nicely into avatars, customer avatar. And the example I'm going to give you is about the brand that I built, because of course I know that very well, so it makes sense to use that as an example. So let's say we've got Liam the lifter, right? He likes to lift heavy stuff. He's 27, he's an IT technician, he's got a university degree. Now, sometimes when people think about customer avatars, they get way too caught up in this stuff, this demographic information. It does matter to an extent, but it doesn't matter as much as these other things, like what are Liam's goals? What does he want to do? What are Liam's values? What does he care about? What are your customers' challenges? What are their pain points associated with that challenge? Okay, so let's look at Liam in particular. He wants to deadlift twice his body weight and squat 1.5 times his body weight. He cares about equipment that does not fail, and he wants to look and feel the part. His challenge is that he can't afford really good fitness equipment, and the pain points associated with that are the poor service of the other brands, and the kit that he can't afford keeps failing. It's not good enough, all right? So I want you now to start thinking about, get a pen and paper, what are the goals, values, challenges, and pain points of your customers, okay? And you may have several different types of customer within your brand, and that's okay. So we now know what our customers' goals, values, challenges, and pain points are. In BSQ's case, it's Liam. How can we get noticed by him or her and begin to solve their problem? Okay, so let's look at Liam. And the answer to that question is we need to get in front of them, okay? We need to think about, where does Liam spend time online and consume electronic information? He's on Facebook because he's in groups for strength training. He's on Instagram because he follows the top coaches, posts his gym progress, and follows his friends. He's on YouTube because he's watching training tutorials and consuming fitness information there. He's listening to podcasts because he's interested in training podcasts. And he's on blogs and websites from his favorite trainers. And he's reading online fitness magazines. Now, I know this because I was scratching my own itch with my brand. If you don't know this information because your brand is selling stuff that you're not passionate about, I would say that that is a problem. You need to either go to somebody in your organization who does understand the customer, or you need to get out there and research. And there's a great book by Ryan Levesque called Ask, which is where you are effectively using lots of surveys to ask your customers what they want. So ideally, your brand should be something you're passionate about anyway, so you should know this stuff. But if you don't, you need to get out there and do the appropriate research so that you know the answers to these questions. Where is your customer spending time online and consuming electronic information? All right. Let's have a look at customer avatars a bit more. We now know where Liam is hanging out online, but it's not as simple as just posting in these places and expecting sales to come in. You can't just put a post on Facebook and a couple of posts on Instagram and think that that's going to work. We still need to understand a bit more about our customer to complete the avatar, all right? So what might Liam object to? What might your customer object to? Why might they not buy from you? So for B-Skier, it might have been that the products were too expensive. So we need to justify the price. And we can do that through all of our marketing collateral, explaining the features and the benefits and why the product is worth what we're selling it for. Maybe the person doesn't know, like, and trust the brand yet. They haven't heard of us, right? So we need to build trust by demonstrating competence. And we can do that by developing helpful, free, engaging, useful, compelling content that demonstrates that we are an authority on the topic. That can be blogs, ebooks, podcasts, videos, etc., etc. You get the idea. You need to demonstrate that you know what you're talking about. And what if he doesn't know that the equipment's actually going to help him? We need to use social proof, influencer marketing, customer-generated content of people that potential customers can relate to using, enjoying, and succeeding with our products. Okay? So, now we know this. We know all these things about our customer. We need to build a brand avatar to reflect that, okay? Because we know our customers' goals now. We know their values. We know the challenges they have. We know the pain points associated with those challenges. We know where to find them online. We know why they might not buy from us, and we know how to bust those objections. So go and write down all the reasons that they might not buy from you and think about how you can bust those objections, okay? And now we're going to build a brand avatar to reflect all of that. Because our customers don't care about our brands. They care about themselves. So we need, as I said at the top of the presentation, we need our brand to reflect the customer. And that's what we're going to look at now, okay? We're going to reflect our customer in our brand avatar. And then we're going to use our brand avatar to shape all of our marketing, our brand voice, our copy, our images, our logos, the suite of products that we develop. Everything related to your brand will come through this foundation of the brand avatar. So here's what is in a brand avatar, all right? How is your brand viewed? How does your brand sound? How do you understand, and do you understand properly what you do, and can you communicate it? You wouldn't believe the number of business owners I speak to who don't even really understand what they do and they can't communicate it. I ask them what they do and they just mumble for a few minutes because they don't really understand, or they've never learnt how to say that succinctly. Do you understand what your brand doesn't do? And what do you stand against? All right, I'm going to cover all this now. So, how do you want to be viewed? What I'm about to present to you is for Beast Gear, but I would argue that 99.9% of this applies to every brand. Your reputation. Most brands want to be known for high quality products and excellent service to go alongside of it. Your personality. For Beast Gear, we want it to be seen as independent and relatable and fun, yet also very competent. We knew what we were talking about. Your marketing. What you do. For Beast Gear, we were known for being around on social media, having excellent email marketing, and being available through chatbots. Some of that will apply for your brand. How does your brand look and feel? For Beast Gear, quality, high-end, and cool. I would argue most brands probably want to tick at least a couple of those boxes. What are the rational benefits associated with your brand? So first we have the functional and physical aspects. So for Beast Gear, it's the quality products help me to train better. And then we have the process side. So how easy is it to use your products? The products work well and are simple to use. Then we have the customer experience side of that. Okay, that's a very important part of the rational side. We want customers to say they have great service, the delivery is fast, and they follow up with us. All right. And again, most of that applies to most brands. Then we have emotional benefits, which are a bit different. So this is more about how customers feel. So we have the perceived value. We want people to perceive that the product is great value considering how much they paid for it. They want them to feel like being associated with your brand says something about them. So for Beast Gear, we want it to be known as being, by using Beast Gear products, people think that I'm cool and serious about my training. And for your brand, it might be something else. But generally, you want people to feel like by being associated with your brand, they are boosting their status. All right? And related very closely to that is how it makes your customers feel, which is very similar. Our customers want to feel cool, and they want to feel like they're part of the tribe. They're part of the Beast Gear tribe of serious fitness people, okay? Now then, we now know how we want our brand to be viewed. But a key part of making sure we're viewed in the right way is to make sure that we sound right, okay? And that is basically the brand voice, which is how we speak in all of our marketing material. So, for instance, innocent smoothies have a fun and friendly voice. If you read the back of an innocent smoothie packet, it's a fun and friendly voice. And personally, I find it quite irritating. Apart from anything else, innocent smoothies are owned by Coca-Cola, so they're not as innocent as they make out. You might want to be blunt and funny, like the Dollar Shave Club, who had that very famous advert, you can YouTube it, which said, our blades are fucking great. You might want to be sophisticated like Maserati. Now, I'm not saying everyone who owns a Maserati is sophisticated, but they aspire to be sophisticated. So when they see that in the brand voice of Maserati, they see a reflection of who they aspire to be, and they feel a stronger affinity to the brand. You might be sarcastic and rude like Cards Against Humanity. Or you might be very serious and empathetic like a funeral care company. It would not be appropriate for a funeral care company to use the sarcastic and rude brand voice of Cards Against Humanity, unless they were a very niche, tongue-in-cheek funeral care company. But I think that their audience would be too small to be a success. Okay? And people say to me, well, Ben, won't I exclude people if I do that? And I say, yes, you absolutely will. That's the point. You want to speak to your ideal customer. I am not the ideal customer of Innocent Smoothies because I find the tone in their brand voice on the packaging annoying. It's irritating. So it doesn't speak to me. That's fine. I'm not their ideal customer. That's okay. The best voice to use is your voice. If you've scratched your own itch, that is the best voice to use. And if it's not yours, it needs to be somebody in your organization who is scratching their own itch. Or you need to go away and work with an expert to hone your brand voice to speak to your ideal customer if you don't understand what that should be. And I'm going to show you a bit of copy now from a Beast Gear product page on Beast Gear's website for a weightlifting belt. And I'm going to read it to you word for word. I know you can read, but I want to get across some important points with this. So let's look at this. This is some copy from a product page for a weightlifting belt. Wearing the Beast Gear Power Belt is like being the heavyweight champion of the world. You've got the belt. You are the shit. You can strut around the gym like a boss because, frankly, you are one. Then we got a little gif of Stone Cold Steve Austin. That belt is coming with me. The Beast Gear Power Belt is guaranteed to make you as badass as Steve Austin. And now we're moving away. This first part is kind of, a bit cocky, bit arrogant almost, okay? But kind of funny. All right, and our customers will know who Stone Cold Steve Austin is. Now we're moving into the part where we're showing that we are extremely passionate about our products and very competent and an authority on the topic. Our Power Belt is handcrafted with passion and care. It's not designed to compete among the bog standard mass-produced belts. This is a stronger, longer-lasting belt for serious beasts. The Power Belt is distinguished by its premium, all-natural materials and the painstaking manufacturing process. Our belts retain the natural characteristics of the leather and do not compromise on the intrinsic strength of the materials. We trust our belts every day in training, and so can you. So you can see how understanding your customer, and therefore understanding the brand of voice that they will respond to, can feed into a practical way of using that in your copy. Because if I'd written that using a voice that would be more suitable for somebody who wants to buy knitting products or gardening products, that sales page would not convert anywhere near as well as it does. Okay? All right. So now we know about our brand voice. We can start to put that into practice a bit more. The next part of understanding the brand avatar is asking ourselves, do we understand what we do and how do we communicate that? And an exercise that I'd like you to do, please, to understand this is to create a quick pitch or tagline, which is a short message which clearly explains what your brand offers. You can think of this a little bit like, you've all heard about having an elevator pitch, right? Where you imagine you getting into an elevator and suddenly one of the main investors from Shark Tank walks into the elevator next to you, and you're like, oh my God, this is my chance to show off what I can do. And can you tell them very quickly in the elevator what you do? It's a little bit like that, okay? But not quite the same, but it's a bit like that. And you're going to structure it like this. Problem, solution, result. So here's an example for Beast Gear. 3 sentences. High quality fitness equipment has become a luxury preserved for elite athletes, while affordable kit is not good enough. That's the problem. Beast Gear provides top spec training gear at a fair price and with service to match. That's the solution. So you can concentrate on your training, supported by premium products that won't let you down. That's the result. 3 sentences. You roll it all together. It's a nice little snappy paragraph, which basically says clearly what you do. Problem, solution, result. Okay? So what do we do with that? What was the point in that? Well, there's several things you can do. You can have everyone in your team learn it, for starters, okay? And ensure that all your marketing material fits with the essence of that message. You don't have to publish that message anywhere. But you just have to make sure that all your marketing collateral fits the essence of that message about the problem, solution, result. And you can just take a step back every time you create something and say, does this fit the essence of what we actually do? You can put it in your email signature, which works really nicely for small brands, okay? You can put it on the About section on your website if you want to. And you can use it in your social media descriptions if you want to. So, we know how we want our brand to be viewed, which is a reflection of the customer and who the customer aspires to be. We know how we want our brand to sound. We know what we do, and we can communicate it. But what don't we do? What do we stand against? We need to define our enemy, because nothing builds a following for your brand better than a defined enemy. BrewDog stands against poor quality, boring beer. Tesla stands against high-polluting, inferior technology, and Apple stands against stuffy, boring tech. Now, I am not saying that beer that's not BrewDog is poor quality or boring, and I am not saying that cars that are not made by Tesla are inferior, and I am not saying that anything that's not Apple is stuffy and boring. I use a PC, and I prefer it, for example. But those three brands have done a fantastic job of positioning themselves in that way, as positioning themselves against, as standing against poor quality, boring beer, standing against high polluting, inferior technology, and standing against stuffy, boring tech. Okay, it's all how you position yourself. So to do this, create your enemy, you have to define what is the root cause of your customer's problem. Remember, customers buy stuff to solve problems. Your brand and your products exist to solve problems. So what is the root cause of that? Can you personify it and whittle it down? So for Beast Gear, it was the status quo of the elitist fitness industry. Maybe yours is going to be you stand against poor quality lawn care products, or actually, to get really specific, you stand against pests which affect your plants, whatever it might be. Think about it. I just came up with that off the top of my head. What is the problem that relates to your products? Okay. What is the problem as it relates to your products? And that's thinking about it externally. So for Beast Gear, the best equipment is too expensive and affordable equipment is low quality. That's the problem, okay? The cause of the problem is the status quo of the elitist fitness industry. But the problem is the best equipment is too expensive and affordable equipment is low quality. How does that make your customers feel? Okay? How does that make your customers feel? For Beast Gear, they felt frustrated at a lack of access to great equipment and overwhelmed by lower quality options, okay? And why is that just plain wrong? Why is that just plain wrong? It's 2021. Why is there a lack of access to great equipment and lower quality products? Why are the great quality products far too expensive, unfairly expensive, okay? Why is that just plain wrong? Everyone deserves access to good quality equipment to exercise with. Reliable gear and excellent service should not be the preserve of the wealthy or elite athletes. So whilst I'm going through this, think about these four things and how it applies to your brand, and can you define your enemy? Apple have been very good at it. Tesla have been very good at it. BrewDog have been very good at it. So many brands have been very, very good at this. And actually a really good book to read on this topic is called Start With Why by Simon Sinek. Okay, so we now know our enemy. Okay, so now what? What do we do with that? Well, we're going to use that theme directly and indirectly in your copy, your marketing material, your website videos, social media, product pages to guide your customer with empathy, saying that you understand their problem, the enemy, the external, internal, and philosophical issues. Here's an example of how to do that, okay? So with Beast Gear, rather than having an about page, I had a philosophy page. Okay, I find about pages are kind of boring, but I introduced this philosophy of Beast Gear and what it's all about. And you can check this out if you want. By the way, I sold this brand. I don't own it anymore, but some of my stuff is still on here. And in this page, I'm introducing myself as the authority on the topic and the guide, and Beast Gear as a guide. And giving more information about the mission of the brand. So I'm helping to position us as a guide and saying that we understand the customer's problems. We get it, and that's why we've developed these solutions, okay? And the next part to this is that we talk with authority and demonstrate that we are competent in our niche or our industry and we know what we're talking about, okay? So the first part is the empathy, the second part is the authority. And the authority you can do with great content. So for instance, writing all these fantastically useful fitness articles and emailing them out once a week to customers to show that we understand what we're talking about, which helps make them know, like, and trust us, builds a sense of reciprocity towards our brand and makes them more likely to buy from us at the end of the day. Okay? And we're standing against the status quo of the elitist fitness industry. That's the link I just showed you there. Okay? And we're going to guide them towards buying our product. And this brings me nicely onto something called the hero's journey. And the hero's journey has existed for a very long time in marketing. There's a fantastic guy who wrote the scripts for King of the Hill. And his name is Paul Jamin. And him and his wife have a brand called Twirly Girl. I'm going to show it to you now. And Paul Jamin has written quite a lot as a marketer about this whole concept of the hero's journey. And it comes from screenwriting. And this guy knows quite a lot about screenwriting because he wrote a whole ton of the scripts for King of the Hill, I believe. So anyway, let's now look at one of the greatest films of all time, Back to the Future, in order to understand this a bit more. So Back to the Future has a hero, Marty McFly. He is the hero of the story, and your customer is the hero. And Marty McFly has a problem. He's stuck in 1955, and he's changed the course of the future, preventing his parents from meeting. That is his problem. Your customer has a problem. Marty has an enemy. Biff is now Marty's mum's boyfriend. Okay? That is the root cause of his problem. All right? That is the root cause of that is preventing his parents from meeting, because Biff is now his mum's boyfriend, right? But he meets a guide, Dr. Emmett Brown. Doc, your brand is going to be the guide, okay? And the guide gives him a plan. Arrange for his parents to meet and use a lightning strike to get back to 1985, okay? And your brand, as the guide, is going to give your customer, your hero, a plan, which is to instruct them to buy from you to solve their problem. And you're going to do that by guiding them using your brand voice, your marketing material with empathy and authority and excellent content towards the solution, okay? And the outcome of using that plan is that Marty's parents met and the future was saved, and Marty safely got back to 1985. And for you, you're going to solve your customer's problem. They're going to be satisfied when they purchase from you, and they will buy from you again and again and again, okay? Now, what was the point in that? Okay, what was the point in that? Well, let's look at it, okay? No one cares about your brand. The customer is king. Your brand is not the hero. The customer is the hero. Too many people start a brand and then they just talk about themselves. Me, us. It's incredibly boring. Until you have evangelical fans of your brand that'll buy from you no matter what, nobody cares about your brand. They just care about getting a solution to their problem. So make your customer central to your story, okay? The customer just wants to solve their problem, all right? So they have to be central to the plot, and you have to just constantly talk about solving their problem. That's what your brand exists to do. And if you rally against the problem or the root cause of your customer's problem, their enemy, then your customer will love you, all right? That's why Brewdog fans love Brewdog, because they rally against poor beer. That's why Apple fans love Apple, because they rally against boring and not very good technology. That is why Tesla fans love Tesla, because they rally against polluting cars and they rally against inferior technology, all right? You need to give your customers a plan or a path, all right? Customers are so overwhelmed. They have a problem, but there's so many potential solutions out there. They just want somebody to tell them what to do. Give them clarity, all right? Just tell them what to do. If you don't have a plan, your customer is going to be confused, all right? And your plan can look like something like this. Suppose you have a brand of knitting products, all right? And you've got tons and tons of knitting patterns. You're selling knitting patterns on your website. And your customer is overwhelmed at which one to choose to make a really nice sweater for their grandchild. Well, what if your website had a little toolbar towards the top of the page that looks something like this? Select your pattern, choose your wool, place your order, knit your jumper or sweater. Wouldn't your customer feel less overwhelmed? If you think about it like this, the customer has a problem. The solution to the problem is the knitting pattern, but it's on the other side of a raging river. and they're feeling really overwhelmed as to how they're going to get there. But what if you just gave them some stepping stones? Stepping stone number 1, select your pattern. Well done, you made it to the first stepping stone. Don't you feel a bit better? Stepping stone number 2, choose your wool. Good job, you're halfway across the river. Stepping stone number 3, place your order. Awesome, almost there. Stepping stone number 4, knit your jumper. Boom, you're on the other side of the river. Don't you just feel better? So now if you imagine your customer standing by the river and they can see the stepping stones, they can see the path laid out for them, they're going to feel less apprehensive and their resistance to buying from you is going to drop. That is why we have to give the customer a plan, okay? And you can lay it out on your website exactly like that with beautiful imagery. Knit your jumper can be an overlay of text over an image of a grandmother presenting their grandchild with this beautiful sweater or jumper that they've knitted, right? Making the customer feel like they already have the solution to their problem in their hands, okay? Exactly what I just said there. You're going to show them how their life is going to look when you have already solved their problem. And you can do that directly by telling them or by indirectly through, for instance, images, as I just mentioned, all right? So let's talk about bringing it all together. We're going to focus on people, not products. And you're going to put your customer, not your brand, at the center of all your marketing material. And the people will be at the center of your content, your traffic, your product, your copy, your marketing. When you understand who your potential customers are, you know what content they want. When you understand who your customers are, you know where they are, so you know where to buy your traffic. When you know who your customers are, you know the problems they have, so you know what products to develop within your brand. You also know what kind of copy will appeal to them, so you make your copy appeal to them in the correct brand voice, and you know where, when, and how to market to them, whether it's email, chatbots, social media ads, whatever it might be, okay? You're going to define who you serve and provide value related to what your customer wants. For instance, content. Helpful, free, compelling, engaging, useful information that they can consume to help them know, like, and trust your brand, okay? Straight out of the Gary Vaynerchuk jab, 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 right hook philosophy, right? You're going to give tons of value and then ask. And you can give them value because you know who they are and what they want. That's going to help you solve problems because you know who they are and what they want, so you can solve the problems they have by developing a suite of products for that particular group of people, whether they are CrossFitters or people with sensitive skin, right? You're going to hang out where they hang out. No use being on Pinterest if they're not on Pinterest. You're going to understand why they might not buy from you and bust those objections and reflect your customer in your brand avatar, or even better, reflect who your customer aspires to be. If your customer aspires to be really fit, reflect that in your brand avatar, demonstrating average Joes becoming fit, which is exactly what I did with Beast Gear. Despite only being an average Joe, I made myself the face of the brand. You can do that with any brand. If your customers are gardeners who are okay at gardening but want to get really good and have a beautiful garden, reflect that in your brand avatar. Show them the journey of an average gardener creating a beautiful garden. Build a suite of products around your customer avatar, as I've mentioned multiple times already. And understand what you do and communicate it effectively. Do that quick pitch task that I mentioned. And define your enemy. Who does your brand stand against? That will get followers for your brand when you rally against something. And then guide the customer, okay, with empathy and authority. And always remember why your brand exists, okay? Your brand exists to solve a customer's problem on the one hand, and also to stand against something. And a great book on that is Start With Why by Simon Sinek. All right? So why does all this matter? Well, when your brand does this, when it reflects who the customer is and who they aspire to be, when you hang out where customers hang out, when you bust objections, when you build a tribe of raving fans rallying against a common enemy by standing against something and guide the customer, here's what will happen. You will develop better products, sell more of those products, and create raving fans who will A, buy your products, and B, tell other people to buy your products. And so the flywheel spins and spins and spins and spins, and the brand gets bigger and bigger. And you are building your assets indirectly by using this strategy on social media, email, chatbots, YouTube. Who do you think has a bigger email list, social following, YouTube chat subscribers, and chatbot subscribers? A brand which reflects who their customers aspires to be, effectively communicates them with them, and rallies against something, or a mishmash of products who hasn't bothered to do any of this. I think you know the answer. And which one of those do you think is more valuable? Okay? So when you do all of this, your business is going to be more sellable and more valuable when it comes to an exit. And ultimately, that needs to be why we're all doing this, okay? To build a valuable asset that we can sell. And that's what I can help you with Ecom Brokers, okay? So Ecom Brokers, ecombrokers.co.uk, it's a UK domain, but we work globally. You can get a free initial valuation on your business. Just click the Sell Your Business button and we'll have a follow-up consultation call with you. And you can get 10% off of our fees when you mention the 7-Figure Seller Summit. And we will work with you towards the exit you want. We do not flip businesses. We are not like the generic flipper style brokers. We work with business owners towards their goals. So if you come to us and we say your business is worth $500,000 and you say, I don't want to sell it for less than $1 million, we will reverse engineer that plan and work with you towards your exit, however long that takes. We work with you to find the right, we do this for you. We find you the right buyer and get you the best possible deal that your business is worth. That's really important. Far too many people are getting taken to the cleaners now when they try to sell direct or are approached direct, and they end up selling their business for a fraction of what it's worth, and it's quite sad. So please do get in touch and we can help you. And even just have a conversation, right? We're in the business of helping people. We just want to help you. So if we can't help you, we'll point you in the right direction. And you can hear from me on social media. I'm on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, Ben Leonard Pro, and I'm also on LinkedIn. And now I would like to answer some questions. So some of you submitted questions to Gary, and I'm going to answer them now. Now, some of them I think I've answered within the presentation itself, but let's take a look. So let's have a look. Gary says, why are customer and brand avatars even necessary? I realize e-commerce is an ever-changing industry and it's important to stay up on current trends. However, brand avatars appear rather childish and adolescent at best. Seems like a stretch for any respectable business owner or any serious consumer over the age of 50. Gary, I think you might be confusing the concept of an avatar to help shape your marketing material, as I've discussed today, with something like a brand mascot, like literally a physical image. I think that might be what you're getting at. So hopefully this has kind of solved that for you, and I think that was just a mix-up. Iqbal asks, how does building a brand help with selling the business when the business is selling other items from, say, wholesalers, etc.? So there are buyers out there, Iqbal, who will buy resellers. So that's not too much of a concern. But most buyers want to buy businesses that are selling brands. But it's okay if you're selling your brand into wholesalers. That's absolutely fine. In fact, that's just an additional revenue stream for your business. So if you're selling on your own website, you're selling on Amazon, maybe selling on other marketplaces like Walmart, for instance, and you're selling into wholesale, that's making your business incredibly defensible with a whole bunch of revenue streams. So that's excellent. Kelly asked, what resources can we use to help us discover more precisely who our avatar is? Kelly, the first thing I would do is recommend a book called Ask by Ryan Levesque. And you can use surveys very effectively, and he guides you how to do this in this book, to find out more about your customer. And you can ask your customers through email to answer these surveys. Some great tools include PickFu, for instance, to get customer opinions on what they like and dislike. But hopefully you understand from the presentation now that somebody, at least in your organization, needs to be scratching their own itch and really know who your customer is. But really, I would just be asking them. So read Ask by Ryan Levesque. Catherine asks, what is the impact of brand avatars? So hopefully, Catherine, this presentation has kind of presented this to you. When your brand reflects, your brand avatar reflects your customer avatar, and who your customer aspires to be, then it is much more effectively going to speak to that customer and appeal to them and make them know, like, and trust you and be more likely to buy from you, okay? Chris says, how do you create an avatar that is meaningful and not some fantasy avatar devoid from reality? Yeah, it's really important, Chris. That's what this process hopefully is showing you, is your avatar is about who your customer is and aspires to be. It's not far-fetched from reality. And when you go through these exercises that we've done today, your customer avatar and then your brand avatar will be very much in reality and be a true reflection of who your customers are and who they aspire to be. And Pez says, what do you put your focus on first? Your first focus, Pez, is on people. So understand who your potential customers are and the problems they have, and then develop products to solve those problems using all the things I've taught you today about your brand avatar in order to make your brand attractive to your potential customers. I hope that was helpful. You can get more from me on social media, as I've mentioned, and please do get in touch through Ecom Brokers. There's no hard sell from us, and we'll work with you to get you where you want to be. Thank you so much, Gary, for having me. Always a joy to work with Gary, and I appreciate the opportunity. So thank you.